You're listening to 90.9 FM, KUNI, and operated by the University of Northern Iowa, a proud member of the Iowa Public Radio Network. The time is 12 midnight.
30 seconds and time. Astronaut before the field clear, 25 seconds. 20 seconds and time. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10.
I'm Amanda Bixby,
9,
and this is Signal
ignition
Plus.
sequence start.
Tonight's episode is called Can't Talk Right Now.
Hi. This is, hi. I'm conducting a survey about household grocery shopping habits, and I'd love to, I'll call back. Hello. I'm calling because I'm conducting a survey and would love to offer you a special coupon package if you could just spare a few minutes of your time. I'll try calling back another time, hopefully when you're available to chat. Hi, just checking in because our coupon package is a limited time offer, so just hoping you might want to take advantage of our offer. So our number here is 1-800-555-8665. Oh, remember to ask for extension 92. Okay, thanks. Hey Beth, it's Natalie. I just want you to know, just anytime you want. Beth, hey, it's gonna be someone else at my extension now because I'm not working there anymore, so yeah, I guess I don't know, which is just frustrating, but anyway, if you ever feel like my number is 319-555-3829. That's my personal. If you ever want to talk to me again about whatever, I hope you're okay, Beth. I'm sure you are. Anyway, I won't call again.
I discovered these messages on an old answering machine I picked up recently on my weekly trip to the Salvation Army thrift store. The device in question was cutting edge once, as you can tell from this commercial that aired during the Christmas season in 1994.
The incredibly dependable AT&T Digital Answering System 1710 from Kmart has no tapes to break, many easy-to-use features, and it's just $69.97. So get the Kmart.
These devices are sturdy, and you can often pick one up on the secondary market for as low as $30. The Salvation Army sold me this one for $10 because the power cable was missing. But it also takes 4 AA batteries. So I took a risk and took the machine home. I was immediately captivated by Natalie's voice and the secret narrative implied by her increasingly anxious messages. Each time Natalie called hoping to speak with Beth, she instead heard,
"Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call."
which was the cheerful lying voice of a default greeting that no one ever bothered to change. True to her word, Natalie left no further messages. But her final message,
I hope you're okay, Beth. I'm sure you are.
left me with too many unanswered questions to sleep that night. Now, if you call 1-800-555-8665 today, you'll hear,
"Thank you for calling the Midwest Vending Supply Company. To request new service at your location, press 1.
To report mechanical issues, press 2.
Not too surprising. 800 numbers are recycled all the time. But if you call 319-555-3829 and ask for Natalie, you'll learn.
Nah, there's no Natalie here. I think you've got the wrong number.
Which isn't true, of course. I'm just calling it from the wrong year.
Well, I don't know what that means, but we've had this number since we moved here, which had to be...
2002. Is that right?
Sounds right, yeah. Lucky guess.
Oh, no, I'm not guessing. I just did a reverse lookup of your phone number on the internet. Are you Calvin Meyer on Home Park Boulevard?
Who is this?
Calvin could acquire Natalie's number because local number portability wasn't enforced in the 319 area code until 2003. But you can search the white pages online all the way back to 1994. 7 different people were assigned this number prior to Calvin, none of them named Natalie. Any one of them could be Natalie's old housemate. A woman named Kelly Harris had the number in 1994 and 1995. And when you look Kelly up on Facebook today, sure enough, she's friends with a woman named Natalie Kinmark, who first appears in the white pages with her own 319 area code in 1996, a number she has had ever since. I decided to call that number.
Hello?
Hi, is this Natalie?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amanda Bixby. I host a radio program for KUNI called Signal Loss. Is this a good time?
Maybe. Good time for what?
Oh,
Are we on the radio?
no. I just wanted to ask you a few questions if you've got some time to chat.
Yeah, I've got a few minutes before we leave for work. What's this about?
It's about... I'm calling because... What do you remember about a woman named Beth? Still there?
How do you know Beth?
I don't actually know her.
Well, how do you know about her?
It's kind of a long story. Maybe I could come by your bar tonight and tell you in person.
You know where I work.
Yes, because I've been looking for you. Because you left several messages on Beth's answering machine, and I wanted to know more about her story. And your story, if you're... Are you still there?
Be there at closing. So you were friends with Kelly on Facebook?
No,
Oh. But you could see all her friends,
I could.
including where they all work.
Well, usually if they list where they work on their profiles, yeah.
I thought my profile was private.
A lot of people think that.
But I didn't put my phone number on my Facebook profile.
It's in the phone book.
Yes. You gonna record me?
No, I'm going to play a recording for you. I recently found an old answering machine at a thrift store, and I transferred the messages from it onto this device. Is this your voice?
I hope you're okay, Beth. I mean, I'm sure you are.
Did she call you back eventually?
No, she did not. Sorry. I haven't thought about her in a long time.
That's okay. I mean, I know this is weird.
Yeah, why did you buy an old answering machine in the first place?
Oh, I'm kind of a dead media collector. I find old film strips or reel-to-reel tapes or video cassettes or, weird old commercials and radio shows or home movies or audio tapes of recitals or lectures, that kind of thing. And I use that stuff to make stories from a radio show.
For KUNI.
Yeah,
I went to UNI.
so did I.
Are you back from somewhere, or are you still there?
No, I was an intern when I was getting my communications degree, and they were really short-handed the year that I graduated, so they offered me my own show if I would stay in Cedar Falls and go full-time, so. Been there ever since. Are you back from somewhere?
Surely the fuck am not. So you want to know about Beth and me for your radio show?
No, I want to know about you and Beth because I'm a very inquisitive person. But I do think it could make a good story for my radio show.
I don't know about that. Doesn't have much of an ending.
Well, Not yet.
You gonna record me?
No, not tonight. I just thought we could chat tonight if that's still cool.
Yeah, I might switch to coffee at some point.
That sounds good, actually.
I mean, not yet.
So, in your messages, you start out saying you're doing a shopping survey, like you don't know who she is.
Yeah.
But you did know her?
No, I think I thought I did a little at the time, but now I think I probably didn't.
But you knew her name, though.
Yeah, I got her name off a call list. I had this job while I was in college, doing surveys for a telemarketing company. Big clients would hire us to conduct market research surveys. It'd send over these call lists of people who'd ever subscribe to a magazine or enter a sweepstakes or whatever. Sometimes they were pre-screened and sometimes they just seemed like big random lists.
Hello?
Hello, may I speak to Mr. Carl Nelson, please?
That's fine.
Hi, Mr. Nelson. My name's Natalie, and I'm not selling anything. I'm just calling to ask you a few questions about your cigarette smoking preferences. We'd be happy to send you a packet of coupons in the mail for leading cigarette brands for your time. How does that sound?
I
Excellent. First question. When you purchase cigarettes, what's more important to you, brand or price?
Is generic a brand?
We had to hit hourly quotas of completed surveys, even though we didn't get commission like the sales guys.
Eyes on the board, people. Natalie's in the lead this hour with 28. Marcus is right behind her with 26. Very nice, you two. I love seeing you trade the lead back and forth like that. Look at all those 16s and 17s. Very nice work, you guys. Let's keep it going. Let's be ambitious. The goal is 18 this hour.
I mean, they still try to incentivize us.
Remember, the top 3 callers this month get those free passes to the Cattle Congress.
Woo! But the only real incentive was you got fired pretty quick if you missed quota too many times.
Heath and Liz, can I see you in my office immediately? Please bring your headsets.
I was good at it, but I didn't like it.
I guess brand is most important. You gotta look cool or there's no point in smoking, right?
Do you participate in any loyalty or reward programs for your favorite brands?
I can get rewards for smoking?
You could get points toward rewards, yes.
What kind of rewards can I get?
Typically, you can choose from an entire catalog of items. What type of items would convince you to sign up for a loyalty program?
Can I get you as a reward, Natalie?
I'm sorry?
How about your phone number? Can I get your phone number, Natalie? It's only fair you've got my phone number, right?
We're not allowed to give out personal information, sir.
That's a stupid rule. How about you call me when you get off work?
We're not allowed to remove the call list from the call center. If you could just answer the question.
No, you answer a question. Why are you being such an uptight bitch?
I take it you would not consider joining the loyalty program.
No, fuck you, Natalie. If you were here right
Thank you
now,
for your time. You should receive your coupons in 2 weeks or less. Have a good day.
He answered the last question. Technically, that counts.
Okay, you heard that.
You know, quality control spares no one, even my top callers. Yes, I was listening to that call. You did good. You stayed professional and calm.
Huh, I don't feel calm.
I know. That's why you're a rock star. I think it's time we move you out of the survey department. What do you think?
You mean sales? You think I'm good enough for sales?
Of course you're good enough for sales, but sales is a cesspool, Natalie.
But they get commission.
And they hate their lives, and they have 100% turnover every 8 weeks. I've been sparing you from sales to keep you with the company.
What else is there?
I'd like to recruit you for something I've been working on for the company. No sales, no surveys, no quotas even.
Well, what would I be doing?
Just talking to people.
People like that last guy?
No. new product. We're calling it Lonely Souls Confidential. For now, anyway. That's the pilot call list.
So it's like a secret confession hotline?
No, it's just discreet, friendly conversation. Doesn't have to be a confession. It's for people who need someone to talk to, who don't have someone nearby that they can trust. Sometimes, I just think a friendly voice can make a difference sometimes. You can pull that off, don't you think? Look, I know it sounds unusual. You're way ahead this hour. Why don't you take 15? On me. Go up to the roof, get some air. Think of it.
This list is all women. That's on purpose?
It's definitely on purpose.
I'm in.
Here's how it worked. Jean placed ads in the personal section of the local daily newspaper. They were tasteful, almost bashful compared to the way 900 numbers were marketed at the time. But Jean wasn't marketing a 900 number. You signed up with Lonely Souls Confidential by sending cash or check via the postal service. You listed your preferred number and the days and times you'd be available. And once a week, you'd get a 10-minute call from Natalie.
Hello?
Hi, is this Kate?
Yeah.
Hi, Kate, it's Natalie.
Oh, hi, Natalie. Hi.
Is this still a good time?
Yeah, I just been waiting.
Great. How are things?
Oh, it's just, I'm not even sure where to start.
Well, let's just start small. Did you get hit by the big snowstorm you were worried about?
Instead of quotas, Natalie had a schedule to keep, but there were still guidelines to follow. If anyone answered other than the person on the list, hang up and call back next week. If the answering machine picked up, hang up before the beep and call back next week. And the old guidelines still applied as well.
You know, you sound just like my daughter. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you mentioned that last week.
Not like she would ever call me. Anyway, I wanted to send you a Christmas card and maybe find out if you were close. Maybe if you're free?
I'm sorry, we're not allowed to give out any personal information.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we talked about that last week.
I don't remember that.
But that's sweet. Thank you.
At this rate, I don't have any presents to buy.
When you ask Natalie about those days, she freely admits she can't remember all the details. But she definitely remembers her first conversation with Beth.
Hello?
Hello, may I speak to Beth, please?
I'm Beth.
Hi, Beth. I'm Natalie. I'm calling from Lonely Souls Confidential. Is this a good time to talk?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let me give you a little background as to how this usually goes to get started. I've got this little questionnaire here, which I can use to get to know you a little bit, or you can skip that and just dive in. If you've got something in particular you want to just get off your chest or bounce off someone else, to get a little advice.
You're qualified to give people advice?
Well, I can give an outside perspective, that sort of thing.
How old are you?
Oh,
Sorry, that was rude.
no, it's fine. Just kind of a little ground rule here. We've only got 10 minutes. We're not supposed to talk about me, really. Do you maybe want to start with the questionnaire?
Sure.
Great. Okay. First question. Are you married, Beth?
Really? That's your first question?
Oh,
That's the most important thing about me? Am I married?
I didn't. I mean, not if. Sorry. I didn't actually.
Yeah, I'm married.
Okay, great. Well, there's a whole little section here about if someone's married, just to help me understand what married life is like for you.
So you're like a marriage counselor?
Oh, no, I'm not an accredited counselor at all.
Is that what you're in school for?
No, I'm a lit major.
So, what else?
Yeah, how long have you been married, Beth?
4 years.
Do you have kids?
A daughter.
Do you work, Beth, or do you stay at home with your daughter?
Raising my daughter is work, Natalie.
Oh, God, I just meant that...
I know what you meant, I'm just giving you shit.
No, that's good advice. We could definitely take a look at the wording here on this whole thing, really. You know what, I'm just gonna set that aside and...
You don't have to do that.
We can always come back to it after we come up with a second draft. I'm just gonna, why did you reach out to Lonely Souls Confidential? Or we can save that topic for next week.
I just don't really talk to my old friends anymore.
Yeah? You just drift apart?
No, I got married.
Ah, yeah. I've heard married couples mostly tend to hang out with other married couples.
My friends are married, they just don't like Greg.
You don't want to spend time with your friends when Greg's not around?
Sure I do. Greg doesn't like it though.
Well, maybe you could work it out so that he spends time with his friends while you spend time with yours.
He doesn't have any friends. Turns out people don't like Greg.
So you don't see your friends because Greg doesn't like it?
Because Greg doesn't allow it. I should go.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, it was great to meet you, Beth.
You're going to call again next week?
I am.
Okay.
Over the course of several weeks, Natalie pieced together a picture of Beth's situation. She was allowed to leave her house twice a week. Once to shop for groceries with the small allowance that Greg gave her, and once to go to church as a family, where they smiled politely and made small talk with these strangers each week. He left her alone when he went to his job at the local branch office of a trucking company, but her friends wouldn't visit. Apparently Greg had said a few things to their husbands. She stopped phoning them eventually because she could tell they were uncomfortable with the polite, helpless subtext of her calls. She didn't need subtext with Natalie.
Why don't you just leave?
You mean leave my husband?
Maybe. No. No. I mean, leave your house. You're home alone right now, aren't you?
Where am I supposed to go?
Go to the movies.
I don't have any money.
Go to the library.
It's across town.
Take the bus.
I don't have any money.
Go to the park.
What park? What are you even talking about?
Don't you want to get out of the house more?
The house is not the problem. I like the house when he's not home.
Do you ever see your parents?
Not really.
Do you talk to them?
Sometimes.
Do they know? Do they know how unhappy you are with Greg?
Who cares? They've been married a lot longer than me. You think they're happy about it?
When was the last time you saw them?
When we had our daughter, they came for a few weeks.
Okay, and didn't they notice? Didn't they notice that something was wrong between Greg and you?
No. He's always been very charming to my family.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was charming to me too when I met him. He didn't kidnap me, you know, I married him on purpose. And when we had a baby, there was a minute there when I thought he was really going to change. Like he knew he had to be a better man to be a good father, but it's kind of worse now because he's got more to lose, so he's more...
Threatening?
Controlling. He doesn't threaten me.
Then how does he control you? I don't understand. Are you safe with him? Do you feel safe? Beth, why don't you just leave him?
And do what? Move back in with my parents?
Why not?
Because then what?
I don't know. What did you do before you met him?
I worked at a grocery store. For 6 years, I worked at a grocery store. Yeah, I could go back to work at the grocery store, collect child support, get a shitty apartment because I'm not moving back in with my fucking parents. Eat government cheese, try to never get sick, keep getting married until one of them sticks, and pray that my daughter qualifies for enough grant money to get an education someday, unlike her mother who worked at a grocery store her whole life and never even made assistant manager. Or I could just talk to you once a week and just deal.
Beth, we're at time.
Are you mad at me?
No, no. we're over time, actually.
Okay.
I'll call you next week, okay?
Okay. That was epic.
Are you listening?
The end of it. Natalie, you were on the phone with her for 22 minutes. I went on a break and I came back and you were still talking to her.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost track of time.
Yes, you lost track of time because you were counseling her to get a divorce. Do you have any idea how inappropriate that is?
No.
You made her very upset, Natalie. You're not here to provoke our customers.
I was just trying to show her that she had options.
No, you were trying to sell her on a specific option, and that is not what you are here for.
Really? Yes, really.
You're not a therapist. You're here to listen to these people and be friendly, and that's it.
I was trying to be friendly.
No, you were trying to be her friend, and you're not.
How do you know? I mean, what else is she paying for? She knows I'm not a therapist. She could never afford one. I mean, she can't even afford bus fare. But she's spending money once a week to talk to me.
She's not actually spending money to talk to you.
What?
Her checks are bouncing. I should have cut her off weeks ago.
Are you kidding me?
No. Look, Natalie, this isn't... I'm sorry. This is not meant to punish you, but you need to understand we are done with Beth.
I'll settle her account. I can pay.
No, you can't.
I've got savings.
No, I mean you literally can't. I won't let you.
Why?
Because it's stupid, Natalie. Jesus!
Why? I mean, if this is just about money, I will send you a pile of money in the mail, and I'll say it's from her.
Did you spend 6 months on the floor to turn around and blow it all on some stranger?
She's not a stranger. Don't you get it? I mean, I know you are listening half of the time. Are you even hearing us? Every 10 minutes that I spend talking to her, I'm thinking, oh, I should make these minutes actually count for something. You know, like something real in her life. Isn't that what you wanted when you started this? What, didn't you even bother to think it through?
That's enough! Give me the call list. Now! Take 15. When you come back here on surveys for the rest of your shift.
Harsh.
I don't know, I was kind of being a punk.
That's a pretty punitive management style.
It's not like she was some highly experienced executive. She was maybe a year older than me. I would see her at parties.
Did she keep you on surveys?
No, she didn't trust anybody but me to run the confidential, so I was back on it the next day. But definitely got the message.
What was the message?
Oh, I don't know. Don't argue with Jean, I guess. A week later, she hands me the call list, and Beth's not on it. And she doesn't say anything to me about it. She just hands it to me and says, "Good morning," and walks out onto the floor. Normally, I'll call Beth in the afternoon. So, all morning long, I'm talking to people, and I take lunch, and I come back, and it's time to call Beth. And I know that she is just sitting there, just waiting for me to call.
You had her number memorized.
Yeah,
So was that when you left her those messages?
yeah,
Which you weren't supposed to do?
right. I mean, it was very weird to me that she didn't answer in the first place, so I was kind of freaking out just about that, and then I didn't leave a message the first couple of times I called, but then eventually I couldn't stand it. I just babbled and hung up.
More than once.
Yeah. I had this window of opportunity when Jean was usually covering shift change on the floor, and I just was wrong because she heard me leaving the messages, and she fired me on the spot. At that point, I was like, well, what do I have to lose? I'll just leave my own number on Beth's machine. That was just so stupid to do that, so selfish. She never called me.
What did you do after you got fired?
Graduated, got married, got divorced, got married again, got divorced again. This time though, got enough of a settlement to buy this place.
This is your bar?
Sure is. Home of the most popular karaoke night in Cedar Falls. Once a week, hundreds of innocent college kids swagger through here, still on top of their very tiny worlds. And I serve them PBRs and microwave nachos. See, not much of an ending.
Would you like to know what happened? Why Beth didn't answer when you called that day?
Of course.
Do you still remember her phone number?
I wish. I don't even remember her last name.
Do you remember the name of the company you worked for?
I don't.
Did you ever try looking for them?
I did, actually. Before my first divorce, I tried to find it. We were desperate for cash, and I was hoping they'd hire me again, but I couldn't find a single telemarketing company left in Cedar Falls. Probably went out of business. I mean, who does phone service anymore, you know?
They might have changed hands or changed names, or someone might have bought it.
So what? It's not like they're going to have a 20-year-old call list in a filing cabinet somewhere.
You would be surprised at what people hang on to.
Well, it's not like they're just going to hand it over to you.
I realize that. Look, I'm not making any promises, but I'm not out of ideas just yet either.
All right, well, how about I pour you another shot of whiskey, and you tell me some of these ideas.
I'm not sure they're worth sharing just yet.
Well, whiskey regardless.
Fair enough. In the days before Craigslist, college kids in Cedar Falls found part-time jobs a couple of ways. Walking up and down Main Street looking for help wanted signs, scouring the flyers on the bulletin boards in the dorms, or looking through the want ads in the campus paper, the Northern Iowan, which came out on Tuesdays and Fridays. No one ever bothered to digitize those old papers, but the university library keeps a print archive dating back to the 70s. You go into this secret room where the campus artifacts are preciously preserved, and the librarian hands you these magnificent oversized scrapbooks, and then you're flipping through every paper published by the journalism department while Natalie was enrolled. This takes less time than you might imagine. The campus paper was just 12 pages at the time, only one page for one ad, and I quickly spotted my prey. The ad said, looking for cheerful voices to help conduct surveys, with a local number to call. Turns out, the number still works.
Thank you for calling Smith Creative Services. To leave a message for Richard, press 1. To leave a message for Tony, press 2. To leave a message for Jason, press 3. To leave a message for Robert, press 4. To leave a message for Jeannie, press 5.
This is how I found Gene Willits, who agreed to meet me at a coffee shop to chat.
You may not believe this, but I've actually listened to your program once or twice.
People do that sometimes.
It just comes on so late at night.
Well, you can stream it any time from the website.
Oh, isn't that something?
Sure is.
So, you have questions about Lonely Souls Confidential?
I do, yeah.
How did you even hear about it?
Do you remember Natalie Kinmark?
Oh my god, of course. Natalie, my little rock star. How is Natalie?
She's good. She lives like 10 blocks from here.
You are kidding me. She still lives here?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Why? I mean, you're still here. I'm still here.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's just Natalie always seemed like she had real escape velocity. You know what I mean?
She was a lit major.
I see your point.
Anyway, she couldn't quite remember the origins of Lonely Souls Confidential, so I was hoping you could fill me in.
Are you going to record me?
No. Not today.
I mean, ever.
Not unless you want me to.
It's just, I still work there with some of the same people. I mean, not that any of those jackasses would ever listen to public radio.
This can be totally off the record.
That sounds good.
Is your company still doing phone surveys?
No. We shut that business down ages ago. Everyone does surveys on the internet. But we do search engine marketing, funnel optimization, affiliate programs, A/B testing, all that crap. But back then, it was all surveys and sales, phone surveys and sales.
Even back then, I'd imagine Lonely Souls was a pretty unique product. For sure. What gave you the idea?
I was reading this article, this big expose about 900 numbers. horoscopes, sexy singles, romance advice. There was even this one you could listen to where it was people's sob stories about how depressing their lives were. And I just thought, wouldn't it be nice if there was just this real sincere line where you could listen to real sincere people and just like not have it be a creepy experience, you know? So I convinced my supervisor, Jason, to let me set up a pilot program to test the business model.
Why wasn't it a 900 number?
Too sleazy.
Oh, so they had to send you money in the mail.
Right, to cover the long distance charges plus a little extra. Which I mean, we had discounted rates as a call center versus consumer rates, but still, the margins were pretty tight.
That's a pretty unique product for a telemarketing company, for sure.
Jason got nervous almost immediately. He listened to some of the calls and he just was really put off. He was like, what if some irate husband traces us through a canceled check and then tries to sue us for counseling divorce?
So he was listening to Natalie's calls in particular.
Well, Natalie was the only one who ever made calls for Lonely Souls. And she was good. We had really good repeat business. But we didn't have any word of mouth, obviously. So I said to Jason, hey, Natalie's only working Lonely Souls half-time. Why don't we expand our marketing radius to Des Moines and Cedar Rapids? We can add a little bit more of a long-distance surcharge to boost the margins and really make this take off. And instead, they canceled it after a single quarter.
Who's they?
The owners, Richard and Tony. They said it was off-brand for Smith Creative.
I thought the brand was Lonely Souls, not Smith Creative.
The brand was Richard and Tony. Over half of their annual revenue for years was running demographic surveys for Philip Morris. Lonely Souls made a little money, sure, but not enough to justify taking billable hours away from Philip Morris. A chat line for bored housewives was not what they wanted their line managers to focus on. Although hilarious enough, Jason then turned around and got them to let him open a hotline for sports scores. And he used my model to get them to let him do it.
You're kidding.
Literally lasted a month and a half. Turns out that men like to get their live sports scores from this new thing called cable TV. Didn't really matter to Richard and Tony though. Jason is a vice president now, and I am still a marketing coordinator. I have been there 20 years, and I have still never even made assistant manager. You know, fuck those guys. I do want this on the record.
Why don't you take some time to think about that decision?
I know.
Jean, did you really expect Jason and Richard and Tony to understand what you were trying to do here?
What do you mean?
I mean, it seems very clear to me that you never intended Lonely Souls to be just a chat line for bored women. I mean, you must have known when you pitched it to Jason in the first place that women were going to use it to talk about sensitive topics. I mean, all the rules, like call at a very specific time, don't leave a message, hang up if anyone else answers. And you calling them instead of them calling you meant they didn't have to worry about their husbands seeing any mysterious long-distance charges. You knew what you were doing.
You know that phenomenon when an entrepreneur has a brilliant idea, but for whatever reason, the timing isn't right or the market isn't ready, and then someone else comes along and has the same idea, and the market's ready, and then it's just a huge thing? I looked this up once. The first domestic abuse hotline in the United States launched in 1996, 2 years after Lonely Souls. Not that Lonely Souls was social work. I was a business major, not a social worker. It didn't dawn on me at the time how presumptuous the whole thing was.
Doesn't sound presumptuous to me. I mean, everyone got what they paid for, didn't they?
Did they? What is it that they were paying for? Friendship or help from an untrained stranger calling once a week?
I don't know. I didn't hear the calls, but I mean, you were there listening in real time. You said Natalie was your rock star. Do you think she made a difference?
That's what kills me to this day. I think for some of those women, she absolutely made a difference. And then when we suddenly stopped, I think we probably made it worse. Anyway, maybe you can judge for yourself. You recorded the calls? For training, sure. Not all of them. You'd record your top performers and then cut the reels together to train new hires. That reel is all Natalie. Mostly surveys, but there might be a Lonely Souls call or two. I would save those for sentimental purposes. I can't be sure, though the company sold all the reel-to-reel machines. I haven't seen one in ages.
This is your only copy?
That's the only copy.
I'll put it on a flash drive for you.
I heard flash drives were full of viruses.
I know where to buy the flash drives without viruses.
Say, could you give Natalie my number? I'd really love to get in touch with her.
She's on Facebook. In the days before satellite networks, NPR distributed programming by shipping reels like this to all its member stations. KUNI still has a working reel-to-reel machine in Studio C. The engineers like me can't bear the idea we'll never need it again. But analog tape is fragile. It deteriorates over time to the point where if you play an old reel, the tape heads of the machine can actually scrape the iron oxide layer right off the acetate. I mean, the recording literally crumbles to dust. Fortunately, Jean had taken extremely good care of Natalie's reel. The tape included 16 surveys, followed by 31 Lonely Souls calls, which gives you a pretty clear picture of Jean's priorities. And soon, sure enough,
Hello? Hello? May I speak to Beth, please? I'm Beth.
thanks to the touch tones on that recording, I now had Beth's number from 1994, assigned to Greg Liston in 1992. I found 5 Greg Listons on Facebook, 3 Elizabeth Listons, 3 Beth Listons, none of them from Iowa. On a hunch, I searched the obituaries and found that Greg Liston of Cedar Falls had passed away in his home just 2 weeks ago at the age of 59, survived by his daughter Eve. No mention of his loving wife Beth. Eve Liston was very easy to find. She takes classes here in Cedar Falls at the University of Northern Iowa, the same campus where this radio station is located. Thank you for coming to meet with me.
Did I interrupt you? I didn't see a red light outside.
No, I was expecting you.
You're not on the air?
No, the on-air booths are down the hall. This is just a production studio used for pre-recording shows and sponsor announcements, that kind of thing.
Are you going to record me?
No, not today. And not ever. Unless you want me to. Do you, want to sit? Did you get a chance to listen to my show?
Yeah, I streamed a few episodes after you called me.
What'd you think?
Pretty weird.
Yeah.
Good though.
Cool. Cool, yeah. So, should we just, do you want to hear the recording?
Sure.
Hello? Hello? May I speak to Beth, please? I'm Beth. Hi, Beth. I'm Natalie. I'm calling from Lonely Souls Confidential. Is this a good time to talk? Yeah. Great. Well, let me just give you a little background about how this usually...
So that was interesting. I thought I had the only copy of the recordings.
So did I. How did you get that?
Well, first I got in touch with Natalie.
What?
Yeah, she
Are
lives
you
here.
fucking with me?
No, I'm not.
Do you have any idea how long I wish I could track her down?
Actually, I don't.
How did you find her?
Oh, it's kind of a long story.
How did you find me?
Oh, well, I learned from Facebook that you're a student here.
I thought my profile was private.
A lot of people think that. So then I looked you up in the university phone and email directory where I learned your phone number, email address, campus address, home address, and that you're a senior majoring in elementary education.
That's all online?
Well, the site says individuals have the choice to withhold directory information. Did you ever choose to do that?
I guess I didn't choose to do that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Does this feel like I'm stalking you?
It feels a little like you're stalking.
Don't sweat it. I'm kind of a journalist, right?
Really? Because based on the episodes I heard, I would have said no.
Anyway, Natalie's boss recorded some of the calls for training purposes.
And you're going to put those calls on your radio show?
No, I don't currently have a good enough story to do that.
What's that supposed to mean?
I use my show to tell stories, Eve, and I only have Natalie's side of the story. I was hoping to learn Beth's, but I haven't found Beth yet. I found you, and you're not friends with her on Facebook, and your father's just passed away, so the story's entirely in your hands in this point. But even if we never tell this story on the radio, Natalie has been waiting 20 years to find out what happened.
I see. When can I meet her?
You understand.
She's gonna want to know how Mom died. Yeah. I know. No way.
What? Natalie, this is Eve Liston, Beth's daughter.
No way.
Yeah,
Katy Perry, right?
that's me. I sing karaoke here every week.
Small. Well, I do have a monopoly on karaoke in this town, so.
So, whiskey?
Yes, please. Great idea. So, I guess Amanda told you how I knew your mom.
Yeah, I've actually heard your calls with her.
What do you mean?
Sounds like Beth also recorded those calls.
No, she had no fucking idea she was being recorded. Dad recorded those calls. Dad recorded probably every call she made for like 2 years. It was one of the ways he kept her in a psychological cage, convincing her he always knew what she was thinking. He installed this evil little voice-activated recorder under the floorboards and wired it up to the phone line. I guess any idiot can actually do this.
Not legally.
Yeah, I don't think Dad was super concerned about wiretapping laws. But so, Mom and I get home from the grocery store one day, Dad's still at work, and we hear these voices blaring through the house, and it's... Dad's recorder had malfunctioned, and it was playing instead of recording. Playing super loud Mom's phone calls. Her most recent calls. With you.
Where I suggested she should leave her husband.
Yeah. And she didn't know if he had already heard these calls, or what he would do if he did hear them, or how she could erase them without him knowing, or why she'd want to pretend she didn't know, or what he would do if she confronted him about it. Like, this enormous decision tree must have unfolded in her mind right then and there, because we packed for like 5 minutes, we got back in the car with the groceries, and we fucking split town. I don't think she would have had the guts to do that if she hadn't talked to me.
Where did you guys go?
Hawaii, eventually.
Wow, that's a big jump from the Midwest.
Yeah, well, Dad was a logistics manager for a trucking company, so anytime a truck went by the house, Mom was paranoid, like maybe Dad was routing trucks past the house so his buddies could spy on her for him.
Yeah, maybe she was right.
Exactly. How would she ever fucking know? But you definitely can't dispatch an 18-wheeler to swing by an island in the Pacific.
Never gonna know why. Never seen the ocean.
Natalie?
I know. I mean, if she was sitting on a beach somewhere waiting for me to call, that's the first thing you would have said.
I'm sorry
For what?
for not finding you sooner, I guess. I mean, I didn't even hear those calls until after she died. I don't know if she ever even looked for you or what she would have said if she found you. I'm sorry, I don't know that.
Eve, please. I spent half of my life wondering what happened to Beth. Over half, really. I mean, not every waking moment or whatever, but long enough to agonize over and over about what else I should have said. Long enough to imagine every horrible outcome for Beth. And for Beth's little girl. You have no idea how happy I am to meet you, Eve.
Usually making this program is a solitary endeavor. Looking at ghosts on fading tapes or scratched up old records, sifting photographs and microfilm for clues, locking myself up in Studio C for hours, painting audio impressions of scenes lost to history. But this episode had the feel of a reunion, even if the person we were looking for couldn't be there.
She was forgiving near the end. She was like, you can go live with your grandparents who are too old for that shit, or your aunt who is a nutcase, or you can go live with your father for a couple of years and then make him pay for college.
What was he like?
You know, he was very lonely. I think he went to his grave still thinking Natalie and Mom were secret lovers. He still had all the recordings and he gave them to me, like, to prove something to me. All it proved was she did the right thing.
So he never admitted or accepted what he'd done to her?
Well, he must have admitted something to somebody because she got full custody of the major alibi.
But he was never prosecuted.
Well, she didn't have the tapes, and I don't think she would have wanted them to wind up in a public divorce record either. I mean, she didn't want to admit to anybody how she got herself into that situation in the first place.
But she must have admitted it to you before she sent you off to live with him. And you still felt comfortable going?
Yeah, I was like, Dad, you told her what it's like living with a woman who can't boss around.
You were 16.
Sure, but I could take care of myself. I mean, I took care of Mom for 6 years as she got worse and worse and figured I could handle living with Dad. Then I moved back to Cedar Falls and wound up taking care of him as he got worse and worse. That's what happens sometimes.
Natalie, you were pretty young yourself when you were calling Beth. At that age, what impression did you take away from those calls?
Well, at first it was, don't get married, don't fall in love. But that wasn't really tenable for me. So then it was, be really careful about falling in love. Find out which men you can trust. And then it was, how can you be careful about falling in love? The whole idea of falling in love is you throw careful out the window. And then it was, wait, is it too late to be careful about this?
Jane, when you and I first met, we discussed the question of whether lonely souls help the women who were called. But what impact did it have on you?
For me, talking to women openly and honestly, I didn't make any of those calls myself, but listening to them, especially those between Natalie and Beth, broke me out of this sorority mindset that we were all supposed to be superficially friendly to one another, but down deep we were all these vicious competitors in this predatory dating pool.
Eve, is dating like that for you today? Are you and your classmates competing for men?
They're boys. I mean, let's be real. But I came to school to learn. Not that you guys didn't, but I'm here on a full ride scholarship on grades, so I don't let myself get distracted.
One last question. Eve, when you dropped off your father's belongings at the Salvation Army, did you know that Natalie's messages were still on that answering machine?
Yeah. I called her number like a few times, but this guy Calvin answered, so I just gave up. Clearly, I had no idea.
Thank you all so much.
So I found something else in Dad's attic, an old home video, but I couldn't find a VCR that could play it.
I invited them back to my place, where I hooked up my old vintage Betamax back to my giant old tube television, and we watched Eve's home movie together. The date stamp on the video dated it to July 12th, 1996. Why did Greg Liston have this tape?
You want to say hi to your daddy? Yeah. Say hi to your daddy. You talk to him on the phone, don't you? This way he can see you. Hi, Daddy.
He had it because Beth sent it to him. And in a twist of fate, we never get to see Beth's face because she's always the one behind the camera. I'm Amanda Bixby. You've been listening to Signal Loss. Tonight's episode was called Can't Talk Right Now.